This is Open to Hope Radio, featuring Dr. Gloria Horsley and her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley, coming to you on behalf of the Open to Hope Foundation, dedicated to those who are looking for hope after loss.
Welcome to the Open to Hope Show in partnership with the Compassionate Friends. I'm your host, Dr. Heidi Horsley, with my mother and co-host,
Dr. Gloria Horsley. Hi, Heidi. Matt here in California.
Hi, Mom.
You're in New York?
I am. We are going to have a great guest and a friend of ours on today.
And she's from Florida, right?
She is. She lives in Florida right now. Her name is Ligia Houben. And we're going to talk today, Mom, about transforming your life after loss.
Ligia is great. I know she knows a lot about that, so I'm looking forward to the show.
Ligia is the founder of My Meaningful Life and is the executive director of the Center of Transforming Lives in Miami, Florida. She is also an Open to Hope writer, and she is a professional certified grief and life coach, a fellow in Thanatology, death, dying, and bereavement, and a fellow of the American Academy of Grief Counseling. So welcome to the show, Ligia.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So good to talk to you. And I wanted to know, how did you get into the field of grief and loss?
It was inspired by the death of my father, whom I lost when I was 12 years old. And I carried that in my heart and not knowing what the future will bring to me, no? But when I started studying psychology and religious studies and death and dying, I just felt in my heart that was my calling, and I knew that it was inspired by that huge loss. So he's my star that I carry in my heart. Yes.
I love that, the star, because it's a bright, shiny thing rather than a negative, dark thing without hope. They do transform us, don't they?
Absolutely, yes, and it is beautiful what you said, because instead of remaining in a dark place, that's how we feel when we have just lost our loved one, very dark. However, we can just transform that and be in that beautiful light, that beautiful inspiration that guides us in our lives, and also helping others to be inspired by their own losses.
I love that. They really are our guiding lights. I love that idea.
Well, you got 11 principles of transformation. I know if people go to your fabulous website.
The website is the 11 Principles of Transformation. It's 11, the number, .com. Transforming has to do with transforming loss, the loss we are experiencing, into growth. That's how I see it, because the principles, they were introduced in the book, and that's why this is so meaningful, because the book was dedicated to my father, and then I introduced the system there, which is system, and I was writing them, and then when I finished, I said, yes, this is it, 11, that's it. And Gloria and Heidi, from my heart, I tell you that when I finished 11 principles, I was taken by that, because I said, wow, my father, because he died on an 11/11, November 11th. And I finished. There was no more principles, period. And I said, wow. So you know how it is, no? The meaning that we find in symbols, in signs. So for me, that was very precious. And what are the ones that, that are the most important? I would say that I start with accepting the loss, and sometimes is the hardest one. But sometimes people think that accepting something is being happy it happened, or it's being glad. And I say, no, it is not that you're happy. It is just that you acknowledge, well, this is my reality. This is what has happened to me. Because otherwise, if we do not accept your new you, the new reality, then there's no way you can transform it. So that would be the needed one, the first one, and I also like a lot the third principle, because that has to do with your spiritual dimension, and I talk there about the importance of 3 spiritual tools that I feel are so important, which is forgiveness, gratitude, and love.
I love
For
that.
me, are those things that, for me, love is the most powerful emotion, in life. And I believe that those spiritual tools or elements are really important in our grieving and healing process.
How does love come into play in the healing process?
Love first, and I say this in a video that I just did not too long ago, that when we talk about having our loved one, not that we lose someone we love, we may lose them physically, but love is eternal. And you know that. You do know that. Love is eternal. So when we can take that love that we feel in our hearts for that special person, and we take that and we just, based on that love, honor that person and finding that meaning and making those changes that are beautiful, inspired by love. So that's how I feel that is the most powerful. My father died more than 40 years ago. I was 12. I am 56 now. And I'm seeing him. I have his picture now in my center. And he lives in my heart. He does. His love is here. So, yeah.
I love to hear you say this, Ligia, because there's so many people that say, I will never get over it. I'll never be happy again. Or, and I don't know. I am happy, and you sound wonderfully happy, and you're happy, right, Heidi?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy, and I have transformed my loss. I don't necessarily think that I'm over Scott. I don't want to be over him. I'm over all the pain. But I have transformed. I mean, I continue a bond with him in a new and different way, and he is still a guiding light, and he's a huge part of my life, and he always will be.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because yes, and that's the thing and what he just, said, Gloria, too, that's one of the greatest fears that people have sometimes. I just had that, that experience actually this past Friday for a young woman that she lost her mother, and it's that fear, and that, I hear, very, very common, if we are going to be happy again. And yes, that may be a fear, because at that moment we are grieving very, very strongly. And at that moment we are experiencing very strong emotions. So everything has its time. If we allow ourselves to open our hearts and just what you say, open to hope. What can I say that, So you open your heart. You open your heart for that hope and for that happiness that will come as we realize that love lives in us, and there is some purpose how we're going to make that happen. So when we just have that shift and transform that, then that can bring happiness to our lives.
Well, I know that you had a bad accident, because we were planning on seeing you at the Association of Death Educators, and you had a terrific accident.
It was very serious. Yeah, it was last year. I was crossing the street, and I was hit by a car. Yes, and, I lost consciousness. My head, was open, and I needed reconstructive surgery in one of my legs. So I'm so grateful to God that I'm alive. I am so grateful. And, that it was, extremely serious. And the thing is that when I opened my eyes, that I regained consciousness. And it was that sense of being so amazingly grateful for being alive. And I think that sense of gratitude, of being, in that aspect, was that what helped me heal from my inside out, in that accident.
It sounds like you used some of the 11 principles of transformation in your own healing process after you were hit by this car.
Absolutely. And you know what? That it is so interesting, because it's not that I thought like, okay, I'm going to think this is principle 1 and this is principle 2. They came out, out of my heart, because I found myself doing that a lot, doing that processing, and doing that a lot. And it's, the first one, was, accepting what happened to me. And it was super strong. It was really strong. And it's interesting also, I'm going to bring that, what you call open to hope. I always had hope that I would walk again.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And it was like, it never occurred to me, oh no, I will not walk. No, I was so happy, so excited, and so grateful to God. So, and the love, and and being grateful and forgiving, what happened, it happened, that's it. I laid it to God, that's it, that happened. And I went through my grief, went through the process, of going that. And also every single day I was extremely, extremely grateful. And I did, the different principles. I took care of myself. I shared with others. I expressed my feelings, which is principle 4, because I do not believe in pretending. I believe in communicating. And so I found myself using them throughout the process. Yes.
How about the person that hit you? How did you feel about them? And because I think people get so stuck sometimes in anger and shame, and they get involved in lawsuits and all sorts of things going on that I see people sometimes not moving along in the process.
No, I do not believe at all in keeping grudges from anything. I don't believe in that. I think that's, and I don't believe that these things, are on purpose or no. No, things happen in life. Things happen. And it's up to us. If we keep, bitter or how come, no. Because, that is not good for our heart, and that's my philosophy, good for our hearts and our souls. No. I love to be in peace and to live in peace and to live grateful and letting go of any thought or sentiment that it doesn't agree with that. Because again, when things happen, sometimes, you don't plan things and they happen. So I couldn't keep any bad feeling that it was not produced, there. Yeah. It didn't happen. Yeah.
I know that you are Hispanic and work a lot with the Hispanic community. And I was wondering, can you tell us a little bit about, are there differences in the way people in the Hispanic community grieve? And if so, what are they?
Yes, I'm Hispanic. I'm from Nicaragua, actually, living in Miami. And that losses are universal. And we all grieve, because it's the natural norm and unique response to a loss. And I say unique because, yes, it is unique for each individual. However, there are ways that had to do with our culture,
mm-hmm.
that is how we express, I would say, the grief, how we express it. And again, this is general, not saying everybody does it, no, but in general, no, that we Hispanics are, we tend to be very expressive,
mm-hmm.
the way we say the things and carry on, what we do, and our traditions, tend to be like more, let's say the mourning aspect, more into traditional, more into, wearing black clothing, more into things that express how we feel to others and very communicative. That's the way we generally are, because we carry on our values and traditions, and sometimes living outside of our country and living, for example, in the United States, for country of origins, we keep the values and traditions that we had in our countries to have the same type of, funerals if we can, or viewing if we can. Sometimes, of course, we have our restrictions because of the different ways that they are carrying on here. But some cultures, for example, the Mexican culture, that they have even mariachis, this band of musicians, sometimes they bring them to the viewing, or at times, if they are allowed, to cemeteries, because they want to keep their traditions, because that gives us value. So we have different ways, and based on the different Latin American countries, there are different ways. For the viewings, some people are more solemn, very, very quiet, very solemn. Other places, they bring food. Like when my father died in Nicaragua, there was no food, and in my times, the viewing was at home. So it has to do with that. If it's in a small city, or if it's in a big city. A small city, sometimes they give, liquor and alcohol and, little cookies, and they carry the casket throughout, from the viewing to the cemetery. So it's different, but the expression, we tend to be more expressive.
More expressive.
Yeah.
Well, I've also noticed, I live in New York City, and I've also noticed when somebody dies here, even if it's outside or inside, they will go to wherever either they died or where they live, outside the apartment, and people will create amazing shrines. I guess it's called shrines. People will bring candles and stuffed animals and pictures of the person that died and create these amazing places. It's a memorial, really. And you can go and just, it brings people there, even strangers. We go and just pay tribute to that person that died, and I love this ritual.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, because it's like altars, because we have them at homes also, domestic altars, and as you call it as well, shrines.
Altar. Yes,
because,
okay.
Yes, it is a way to honoring our loved one. Yes, so, it has to do with a lot of expression, and also when someone dies and people cannot, afford, let's say, the funeral, or they have to send the body, to the country of origin, people come in and they pinch in and they help, they contribute, to the funeral or to be sent, the body to the country of origin. So it is a lot of people coming together. Yes.
Well, Ligia, where can people find you if they would like to find you and use your services?
Okay, I am in Miami, Florida. The website that has my name, it's ligiahouben.com.
Great, and you run the center. You are the executive director for the Center of Transforming Lives.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am the founder.
The founder.
I
Very
founded
good.
the center, and where we also do meditation classes, working with the bereaved, working with people like embracing life again. That's my purpose in life. Know that we go through grief because it is important to recognize grief and to give that opportunity to every single person. Sometimes society doesn't allow us, to express our grief, but we need to do it. But once we do that and we work through that, then to open our hearts again, to keep that love as a flame, as a star, to keep on embracing life again. And then we are able to transform our loss and transform our lives.
Thank you, Ligia, and thank you so much for talking about how we can transform our lives after loss.
We want to thank everybody for listening to our show today. And Heidi and I always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
You've been listening to Open to Hope Radio, hosted by Drs. Gloria and Heidi Horsley. Like today's edition, all of our past programs are available on demand at opentohope.com, along with helpful articles, videos, resources, and links to help get you through the toughest time of your life. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and sign up for our monthly newsletter. Again, that's opentohope.com. Check it out today. Then be sure to stop by next Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time when we'll be posting another edition of Open to Hope Radio. Remember, others have been where you are. They made it through, and you can too, as long as you're open to hope.